I think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything. No, it really has been a tough first year for you, Mr. President. Gas is up, gas is up, gas is up, everything. Rent is up, everything, everything, everything. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I'm on the road, believe it or not. It is the Friday free-for-all. I've got this thing for my topics. I've got your questions coming up. We're going to go back and forth. And we've got Jolene and Uman on the other end. This is a first for the Prepared Mind, being chauffeured to the deep, deep, deep south. Pretty scary stuff. I hope you brought something to drink and relax. Hopefully we make it in one piece. Apparently, people down in Florida drive like assholes. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. So, yeah. Anyways, here we are. Must have a drink. It just feels weird doing the show from the car like this. So you guys know I've done a lot of live broadcasts. Every morning I do the 0 Dark 30 from the car. It's just weird not holding the steering wheel while I talk to you. Anyways, let's do this. Let's just get into it. And I'm going to do a topic, and then you guys can do a topic. We'll go back and forth, have some fun with this. Let's see here. Trying to get everything working in the mobile app is just a little bit tricky. Okay, and we'll go with that. So, where do I want to start? I want to start with some truth, folks. Viktor Orban. He is the political leader of Hungary. And it's pretty funny. I remember as a kid looking at the globe, you would say something like, hey, if you're hungry, you can go to Turkey and eat. Anyways, yep, blast from the past there. Viktor Orban, leader of Hungary, came out and said this, quote, "The USA could end this war in 5 minutes. Bringing Ukraine into NATO means world war." Truth, this guy, he speaks the truth. Quite a bit. What do you think? I mean, seriously, if Joe Biden said, look, you little cretin, to Zelensky, we're not giving you any more money. We're not giving you any more bullets. You're not going to get any more tanks. You're getting nothing from us, right? We'll send you bags of rice and some pinto beans. That's about it. The war would end instantly. Absolutely instantly. Do you agree with that? So if you look at it that way, it is the United States government there in Washington, D.C. that is making sure this war continues. Right now, again, without the USA, without the Washington, D.C. government, rather, right, Zelensky can't stand. So what would be the consequences of that? Does that mean that Russia would take Ukraine? And wouldn't you think that someone like Viktor Orban would be worried that, well, if Russia takes Ukraine, right, first they take the one side, then they could invade the rest of Ukraine. Well, and then they would invade Poland and Hungary. Isn't Viktor Orban worried about that? Or is it really understood that, if he were to go 1 inch further, then he faces World War III nuclear annihilation? I really think that's the case. But Viktor Orban is known for speaking the truth. And it's a simple truth, folks. You can't fight a war if you don't have bullets and tanks. And, oh, by the way, I believe a company, or the company that makes German Leopard tanks, correct me if I'm wrong, has decided it's going to open a German Leopard tank factory in Ukraine. How convenient is that? Wow. The military-industrial complex moves right in. Now, in addition to speaking truth about the United States government in D.C., being the one thing that is making sure this war continues. Otherwise, Zelensky has to go to the peace table, peace talks. He, as the so-called leader of Ukraine, he has to what? He has to give up. He has to concede. He has to admit defeat, and he has to sign over. Remember, when you lose a war, you sign a peace treaty. You sue for peace. So he won't be suing, or rather making demands of Russia. Russia will be making demands of Ukraine. He'll lose a whole lot more than his fruit salad pride. Anyways, on top of understanding World War III and War with Zelensky and all that, Viktor Orban also seems to understand and object to both the woke culture of the West and all of the immigration. They are continuing to deny the European Union its demands that they accept. Undocumented, worthless, uneducated immigrants from third world countries to bring into their country and destroy it. Well, there we go, folks. There it is. Now, let's see if we can get some questions and comments up from you guys in our system here, the traveling system. And it is, once again, a prepared mind first. Okay, this is from Name Redacted. He says, Zelensky is our installed asset. Well, on top of being a CIA asset, he's basically just an ass. And on top of that, right, he's a butt pirate type of guy. He's everybody's favorite little ass. He truly is. Now, for those who don't know what Name Redacted is talking about, prior to becoming a great leader in Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky was a comedian. He was a dancing fruit musician on television. That's right, folks. And back over 20 years ago, he used to attend pride parades in New York City. That's right. He's quite a special little fruit. Yes, he is. And it wasn't until the CIA helped stage a coup d'etat in the most corrupted country on the planet. I mean, if they couldn't topple Ukraine, they're not going to topple anything. Well, they toppled Ukraine, and then they put Zelensky in there. Talk about someone who is, how do we say this, the most capable, the most likely to be easily controlled. I'm sure that when Hunter Biden was in Ukraine, I'm sure he and little Voldemort there, I'm sure they shared a couple lines of blow, if you know what I mean. In fact, there's this big question coming out of the White House. Has anyone found any more of Hunter's cocaine? He misses it. He needs it. Oh, man. What a mess. All right. Let's do this. Let us move on. Where do I want to go next? Oh, this was beautiful. That's right. We have some good news in the world of sports. Now, swimming has been ruined. That's right. I'm surprised women's basketball hasn't invited more in there. We're talking about the trans Fruit Loops. But the bicycle world has decided, rather sanely, to deny transgender men from their sport. The International Cycling Union, the UCI, has announced that trans women, what they're saying is people who say they're a woman but they actually have a penis, they will no longer be able to compete in the female category. I find this fascinating, that apparently people on bikes understand what a penis and a vagina is. So they're no longer going to be able. What that tells me is up until this point, they have been able to compete against women. So all of these loser men who, want to lose their nads, it looks like they're going to lose a little bit more of their ability to, feel successful and powerful at the expense of women. Whatever happened to that whole women's thing anyways? Women's movement, women's rights, women kicking ass, power girl, and all that stuff. And then men came along and they're like, we can be better women than you. It's ridiculous. Anyways, so no more, well, penises in women's bicycling. What they have revealed, what they what they have revealed is that, and it's funny that they use the word revealed, is that the trans wannabe women have a new category that's going to be called Men Open. Right? This means that they're going to be racing against other men who claim to be women. I find this really fascinating from a kind of a weird psychological standpoint. These men hate the fact that they're men, so they want to, chop their winky off. But now they're going to be forced to compete with other people who hate themselves. I just wonder how this is gonna roll. I wonder how this is gonna roll. These people have lost it. Now, what I think also is funny is that I just think they ought to call it the fruit salad open. I think that works really good. But these people they need to be locked away. Now, there was the trans activist who attempted to murder someone, spent 30 years in jail for it. This is the one who stood in front of a crowd in London. That would be London, England. That's a derogatory term for it's a isn't it funny how they have names for everyone? You're cisgendered this and cisgendered that, and you're a TERF and you're a normie. Why can't they just say it? Anyways, this guy said punch him in the face. So he has been arrested for incitement to violence. Unfortunately, in America, everyone's allowed to, I guess, threaten everybody if you're a leftist. But considering that they're becoming violent murderers and mass murderers on top of that, I really think that this is a good precedent for England to be setting. That if you're going to stand up and tell others to punch people in the face because they don't agree with your political, social philosophy and belief system, that you should be, reprimanded, arrested, prosecuted. And it's good to see that finally a little bit of sanity coming out of England. So yeah, I mean, if they're willing to get in a fight over someone who doesn't accept them quick enough, imagine what's going to happen in a bicycle race. It's just the way they are. All right, let's do this. Let us get into here. We got Chin Music, who's decided to step into the ring. And he says this: is Ukrainian fruit salad better than ours? They need to repave the roads in New Mexico. I'll tell you what, Chin Music, I don't know, man. I don't know if their fruit salad is. What fruits do they have over there? All of a sudden, fruit jokes are coming to mind, like the kumquat. But yeah, these we've got some trouble now. I really don't know where all of this stuff started. I guess it's always been with us, right? I mean, the other day I caught a meme about Klinger. You guys remember who Klinger is? He was the cross-dressing. Remember when they would call it cross-dressing and not trans? He was the cross-dressing fruitcake in the movie MASH, and then the TV series MASH. And that was way back in the early 70s when they tried introducing it into popular culture through the entertainment media system. It's amazing, isn't it, that it didn't really continue to make an appearance at all. Now, let's see. In the 1970s and 80s, the show Three's Company, where Jack Ritter, or is it John Ritter? John Ritter, he played someone who was pretending to be homosexual, so he would be allowed to live with two women. That was an interesting thing. He was a regular straight guy pretending to be gay, so Mr. Roper would let him stay. And then I think Billy Crystal on the television spoof show called Soap, he actually played a homosexual, even though he's apparently straight. But there's really, there wasn't a whole lot. I remember some kind of show called Sisters or something. Maybe it was Sisters or something in the 90s. But one of the wives, her husband was a cross-dresser. And that was the last time I ever turned that show on or even cared to even look at it. But that's, they want to keep throwing it at us. Now it's coming so fast, full speed, that I think the rest of the world is looking at the United States thinking we're nuts. Anyway, it's Bosom Buddies. Bosom Buddies? I don't even know what show that one was. But I can't, I'm not allowed to talk to the driver. Driver's focusing. Focus, driver, focus. Driver is super talented limo driver is focused. All right. So that handle, I really don't know. I just don't know, what Europeans think of all this. I mean, some of their pride parades look pretty nasty. In fact, I believe it was the English who had the English had dildo butt plug rainbow monkey. He was in England, and he was going to go read children's stories. Rainbow dildo butt plug monkey. Okay, what Jolene says, Tom Hanks, he was roommates dressed as a woman to live in an all-woman apartment. Okay, so there's one more. Gotcha. Yep. So we had Billy Crystal. Yep. And then Tom Hanks and John Ritter playing strange roles. But it was, I think, it was Jack Lemmon. And was it, I can't remember the other guy who, I think they dressed up as women in a movie. Was it Some Like It Hot? Anyways, there's a lot of that stuff. They are a bunch of fruitcakes, though, folks. And there's one thing about making it a joke, and there's another thing about trying to introduce it to children to try and use them and groom them. They're absolutely awful. Now, it's my turn to pick a topic. Around the world I choose to go, and get this, folks. In Germany, idiot climate environmentalist wacko idiots. You want to talk about fruit salad? These people are definitely plastic banana between the ears for brains. They decided that they're going to glue themselves to the runway at the airport. That's right. They ran out onto the tarmac, onto the runway, glued themselves down. And they've disrupted the flights for thousands and thousands of passengers. If there's one way to make people hate you, it's gluing yourself to the runway at the airport, gluing yourself to the ground in an intersection, trying to block traffic. I mean, who the fuck is going to say, yeah, now that you've inconvenienced me, I think I want to join your group. You did such a good job pissing me off that now I want to be just like you. I just don't, it doesn't make any sense what they do, but that's what they're doing. My solution for solving this problem is to just let the airplanes land. Leave them. Let the airplanes land. If they get bonked, they get bonked. You want to watch, they'll get out of the way pretty quick. You know, it's unbelievable. Just leave them. Now, Germany seems to have more than its fair share of environmentalist wackos. They seem to have more than their fair share. They had the idiot who glued himself to the floor of the Porsche dealership over there. And he didn't make any friends with that. You know, I just say pour honey on them and invite the ants to start nibbling them and see how quickly they want to get up and get out of there. It's funny how we're supposed to have compassion for them and their belief systems, but they couldn't give a flying fuck what we like. All righty. Let's see. Okay, Jolene says, we got a big one from Charles Gentry here. He says, The time for action is close at hand. Time everyone to confirm their line in the sand. Please get you and yours ready to hunker down or hightail it fast. The reality is, whatever actions you take in the first 24 hours after Mad Max will determine how well and long you last. To be able to hold where you are for 90 to 180 days, 75% are removed in that time. Well, that's quite interesting. Got a lot of information coming from Mr. Gentry. I tell you what, everyone does need to be prepared. And you know what? Whether or not it's SHTF or not, people need to be prepared every day anyways. That used to be what life was all about, being prepared all the time. You know, I mean, having power is great, but expect power to go out. Having fuel is great, expect there to be trouble. Food, same story. I've got some interesting family diaries that were kept in the from the early 1900s. You know, talking about how snowstorms would just blow in and power would go out, and that's it. You're done for any number of days. And I know that still does happen today, but back then it was no big deal. That was just a regular, everyday part of life. Now, as far as surviving, you know, the first couple of days, that's just a matter of putting yourself in location. I have an opinion about this if you care to listen. Oh, you do? Well, terrific. The first couple of days, 3 days, are not going to be that big of a deal if things go Mad Max, with the exception of people who are dealing with, of course, radical, violent meatheads. But if it's just a lights out EMP type of thing, as if that's just a minor inconvenience, let's just say that happens. The first 3 days, there's just going to be a lot of scared and confused people. After 3 days is when you're going to start hearing about people running out of food, running out of water, getting sick from drinking bad water. You're going to start having those types of trouble. After 7 days, you're going to have people fighting and arguing about things. There's going to be a lot more stress, panic, terror, and worry, especially if there's no communication, meaning no radio, no news, not hearing that everything is going to be just fine. If people want to know that everything's going to be just fine, I'm going to guess wildly that after 2 weeks of having no food and fuel delivered, that won't shut off. People will be outright dangerous animals on the loose. Scary times. But we need to. Will alive. So if I've got a camouflage And we're back. We must have crossed the state line, something like that. Something happened. Jolene, new man, stand by for a message. Let's see here. Make sure everything's working. If you guys have to listen to me babble, that's just what happens sometimes. Okay, let's see. 5. Isn't technology wonderful? Can you imagine at any other time in world history where somebody could be traveling as fast as we do in modern cars and broadcasting live, talking to anyone on the planet that cared to listen? Well, that's what we got. All right. We're scanning. There we go. Okay. And there it is. We're connecting. We are connected. Look at that modern technology. Okay. I am back and we are back online, right? Okay, thumbs up says, ooh man, we're all on a go. That's it. I'm jumping right into it here. Is Joe Biden, is he preparing to take us to war against Russia? That's a question I saw on a headline today. Really, is he? Well, when I take into account Viktor Orban's statement, look, the United States of we should be taking people over Ukraine. If you don't stand up to people, they'll just invade whatever country they want. Right? Kind of like I don't know. We going more fast.
All right, folks, I'm taking over the channel. This is now going to be the Prepared Man channel. Actually, John is in a place where the cell reception is really bad. He's not getting a good signal and he can't get back on. So he asked me to apologize and thank you all for being here today and remind you that we'll see you all at the zoo on Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And wish you guys all a safe, fun weekend. And we're going to do our best to have a fun, adventurous weekend ourselves. So thanks again. Be sort of good, be safe, and stay mentally tough. So on behalf of John, I'm going to end the show here. And we'll see you guys all Sunday at the zoo.